off a daily fantasy. His number too high, then I'm probably fading him. He been on the road, he gon' eat up my salary. I hit a buy, he gon' lie before lock. Play back to back, then I probably won't pick on the DFS bachelor good as it gets. Build a few liners and hit me a leg. He had a good game, but it might be a trick. Log in the Slack so I know who to pick. Sharing our liners, we all gon' get rich. New to this game, you should come to the pad. You might want some cash and get a good laugh. DFS sports, we gon' run up a bag. He heard every game and it's making me mad. You buying your lineups, I think you a cheater. DFS bachelor, he the new leader. Yeah.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Bachelor Pad. I, of course, am your host, the DFS Bachelor, and I'm joined by our League of Legends DFS Supermind, Mr. Mike at League of Items. We're going to go over the two-game LCK promotional. It's sort of like a soccer promotion, relegation type deal tonight for the LCK. Two-game slate starts, well, technically, it's 4 a.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. Pacific time. So it's 1 a.m. my time. So technically it's the 28th. So that's why you see that it gets confusing for people. My son kind of tells me that YouTube is very weird when you guys sometimes get these videos, which I don't understand. Yeah, he says like timing can be confusing for like the video from the other day didn't pop up till one day and said it was new and uploaded that day, even though it was uploaded a different day.
What?
Yeah, I was getting a little bit. So just to make clarity, this is for, I guess technically the date is the 28th of April is when this contest starts. Today's the 27th. For me, it's 1 a.m. So it's just after midnight. Anyways, I don't know why that's important. It just, yeah, you know, there just seems to be a little confusion. So I answer that. First things first, thank you for all your support. Truly appreciate it. Just all the kind words, etc. Even the couple of trolls. There is a couple of trolls that come out of the woodwork.
I converted a troll.
You did?
This one guy was trolling me forever, and he just kept showing up and trolling me, and then I just kept being a normal human.
There you go.
And
that's good.
He was like, "God damn it, I love you, man." I'm like, "Oh shit, that's weird."
Yeah, there you go. Actually, the very first fan that he actually passed away, the very first like person that really liked my show, I became great friend. He was kind of like a mentor to me. His name was Dan C, and I loved Dan C. And the first comment was bashing me.
Wow.
And we ended up becoming very, very good friends. He passed away of a heart attack last year. Love Dan C. Shout out to Dan C. Anyways, I mean, it's a two-game slate. We have time to kill. Okay? What else do we have to do? We can't do shit. You can't go bowling. Can walk a golf course, but it's fucking raining.
They're starting to bring back the golf courses, I think, around here soon.
Yeah, the golf course is open here, but it won't stop raining.
Yeah.
Like, I have not had... Like, the course needs to dry after a prolonged winter here. Then we get like a week of semi-warm weather, still a bit breezy. And then I find out I have to walk and not drive a cart. So, like, how am I supposed to carry a case of beer and, you know, my clubs? It's bullshit.
One of my friends, well, I caddied like pretty regularly at a country club around me. And one of my friends was caddying for this guy. He's like, "Man, your bag is really fucking heavy. Like, can we take some stuff out of this fucking bag?" And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, no worries. Whatever makes it easier for you." So he opens up the bag, and this is after 9 holes of him already carrying this bag. So they open up the bag, and there's a 12-pack of beer, and the guy had no idea that he had a 12-pack of beer in his golf bag.
Yeah, I love that.
This guy probably had a 12-pack of beer in his golf bag for like 5 months, completely forgot about it. And isn't making my friend just walk around with it on his back.
That's what I was just going to say. I've tried that before. Hide it in the golf bag, you know, and do the push cart like on a small 9-hole course.
Yeah.
Like a par 3 course when you're just chucking up and you forget about the beers. You find them a year later in the bag and you still chill them and drink them. Of course, like it's part of the game. But yeah, anyways, I digress. What the hell was I even talking about? I forgot what I was even talking about. It's been a long day.
You were talking about killing time, and we can't even go bowling or play golf.
Yeah, I mean, you can play golf, but you have to walk, and that's bullshit to me. That's just how much harder is it? They'll rent you a push cart, or a pull cart, but they won't let you. Like, how much more cleaning is it for a drivable cart? It's not like it's a fucking, you know, dually truck. You spray it with the same shit, just whoosh, 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 let's go. Let me drive the cart. Stupid, so dumb. Anyways. But seriously, thank you for all the kind words. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel. Would appreciate that. Hit that like button. Appreciate that. Check out the Sportsbook Roundtable. I'm trying to do the giveaway, man. And we're like halfway there, maybe. Like, watch the roundtable, comment in the comment section, prefer you say something nice, but you can call me a complete, dickless asshole. Whatever you want to call me is fine. Check it out. If not, then I guess we'll do it for 2 more days, and if not, we just won't do the giveaway. So we want to beat Joey Chestnut's viewing and have more than 20 comments in the comment section at the Sportsbook Review Roundtable video that I did. The links in the last 2 videos we've done, 3 videos we've done, so you can click the link anywhere, even on this video description. Mike's channel's there. Our Twitter handles are there. There's a little arrow by the title. You click that arrow, it goes down. Boom, there's all this stuff that we add to it that you can click on and do and find. So that's that. 2 games. First game. Anything else? Anything else you want to... Are you doing anything else?
So for this, I mean, we want to make sure that we get this out to everybody. So we're going to go through the games. And there aren't any betting lines, I think, for the Korean placement matches yet. At least not ones that I can find. But I might try to do a deeper dive on this later, but I haven't been able to do a ton of research yet. So a lot of this is going to be based off of what I already know about these players. Yeah. And there are a lot of players who were ex-professionals or we're in the first division and then dropped out of the first division and stuff like that. So we're not going in blind.
Right.
But
so this is going to be 2 of these teams will be in the top league for the summer starting in June. So is this like a round robin? Will these 4 teams have to play again, or how does this work?
I think I'm honestly not sure.
Or is it just the winner of the 2 winners? Boom, they move on. The 2 losers, you're gone. Best of 5. Let's do it. Because it is a best of 5. There's going to be fantasy points to score. It's going to be high scoring.
I can look it up right now. So let's just you get it the first game and then
Yep. So our first game is Sandbox, who has been in the top league, versus Team Dynamics, coming up from the relegation league, trying to be promoted to the. So it's much like soccer. So if you know anything about the soccer, Premier League, etc., very similar to all. In fact, it's exactly the same. Now, obviously, the level of competition may be slightly lower. So Sandbox, just in terms of Draftkings pricing and where they priced everything, is deemed the favorite by Draftkings. I couldn't find betting odds for it either. Mm-hmm. It's a Korean League game. So, again, we're not going to know the starters like we do for the Chinese League's game, games 12 hours early. It's going to be... Now, for Team Dynamics, we do, because they don't have any subs. So that's it. That's their team right there. And I went through and looked at the game logs, and that is indeed who plays for them. So there should be no surprises there. They just played through a sort of tournament in the relegation league to get to this game, while the other relegation team, SRB, was already there because they were the number 1 seed in the league. So Dynamics has played well. There's no subs there. The real questions for this first game, and this is the only game before lock, most likely, that we'll have the starters for, and it'll be a half hour early. So if you're on the West Coast, you got to wake up or stay awake till 12:30. If you're on the East Coast, if you really want to know, most likely you're going to have to wake up at like 3 a.m., 3:30 Eastern to find out. I just don't know what else to say. Yeah. And we won't know for the second game because Korea does not like gambling. We've said it a million times. So there is some risk with this. Anytime there's that kind of risk, this isn't the kind of tournament where you're just going to want to put one lineup in. I just think there's too much risk and too many variables. So take your nightly budget, what you're going to do, in my opinion, and play something smaller where you can have more entries but still have the same kind of volume. You may not be able to win. If you play $20 a night, I don't think it's a great idea to only play 2 lineups tonight. I would think you would want 4 or 5 or above. So if you play 20, play $4 instead, or $4 instead. Yeah, give yourself some more exposure.
At the same time, if you're the kind of player who normally runs out $20 and you don't really feel comfortable with this, if you want to sit out a slate, or if you want to play like a smaller single entry and just do one lineup just to have something out there, that's fine too.
Yeah, that's fine. Sure, I'm fine with that too.
Yeah, so if we're getting into the first game, Sandbox versus Dynamics, like you said, Dynamics, they don't have any backups. This is basically their roster. So I just went through real quick to figure out which players I'm familiar with, like from their like past professional experience. So Rich, I've never seen that guy before. Beyond has been a jungler in the LCK for a long time, but I guess he, dropped out last year and then went on to a challenger team. And then Kuzan has been around for a long time. He was on Generic Green Wings, Rocks Tigers, Hanwha Life. So he has a lot of experience in the LCK. At least being on the team. I'm not sure if he really played that much. I feel like he definitely did because I do recognize the name. So I'm sure he was a starter at one point in the LCK. And the fact that they're at the top of the Challenger League is always a good sign too. Because a lot of the time in the Challenger scene, you'll see a lot of younger teams where they're trying to like groom these players so that they can either sell them to the big organizations or do something like that. So it is really similar to soccer.
Sure.
FaZe is a 20-year-old South Korean. He's only been on the professional scene for about a year, I think.
He's been playing well. Just going through the game logs, he's been playing well.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why, like, I always kind of push back against the synergy kind of things, is because if you have somebody that's like can play the game mechanically, you can basically fit him into a team as long as he's not a shot caller. So if FaZe has good mechanical ability and understands how to play team fights, then he should be able to carry. Just because it's like if you're playing basketball, it's like you don't need to have synergy with your team to know, oh, I'm wide open, I'm going to shoot the ball now.
Right.
It's very simple.
Right.
So it doesn't look as simple as that, but it really is.
Right.
So I think especially with having a bunch of more veteran players on his team, it probably helps him just focus on
killing people.
Yeah, dealing damage and killing people.
Yep.
And then his support is Guger, and Guger, again, he's another player who's been around forever. He started playing in 2013. And he was on a lot of different teams throughout Korea. So he's a good player.
Gorilla is obviously very good. He's the strength. He's one of the better players for Sandbox, right? His matchup.
Say that again?
His matchup with Gorilla is tough. Gorilla is one of the better players on Sandbox.
So, Gorilla is a veteran. He's been around forever. He was like Rocks Tigers was like the best team in the world for a little while. I don't think they won a world championship at that point, but there was like 1 or 2 years where they were pretty dominant, and just couldn't get over the hump to like win. So that was kind of unfortunate for them. But they had a lot of cool players, and Gorilla was always like the constant on that team because their mid laner's Kuro, who's on KT Rolster right now, and he kind of just fell off a cliff.
Right. Right. So really, the question is, we know who's going to play for Dynamics for Sandbox. Top is most like they've played both players.
Yeah. So if I'm looking at the most recent games,
I think Summit is probably the top you're going to see.
Yeah. So just from like a paying a little more close attention to the actual like the game itself, and the opinions of these players from like the analysts and the announcers and everybody that's in Korea. Summit is regarded as one of the best top laners, like talent wise. It's just his team hasn't been able to put him in positions to succeed throughout the split. So I think that they'll most likely put him in because for 2 reasons. One, it's like the showcase thing that you see at the end of the season in like football or like right around the trade deadline. So if Sandbox Gaming plays this series and loses, but Summit looks good, then they can try to get rid of him and like recoup some of their losses for the season. On Fleek is a good player. I would expect it to be Summit and On Fleek.
Yeah.
They were good last year. So this kind of came out of nowhere where like they're struggling so bad because those 2 players are pretty good. Gorilla, like I said, he's a good player. He is a constant that you can kind of depend on, but we don't really know who the carries are going to be. I think it would probably be Dove and Root. But the last match they had Fate and Leo play. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be Dove and Root.
Yeah, well, and Leo played the last couple of matches recently, and he's actually played pretty good. I mean, even in a loss to Damwon Gaming.
Those,
Well,
the
he
last
came back
three
for
games,
one. No, he came back for one game on the 15th against Damwon Gaming. Their second most recent game.
that
Right?
was that was their last series. So they
Yeah,
had those 3 games against Damwon.
yeah, and Leo played, and I
Yeah.
mean, he had 12 kills, 10 assists, 4 deaths in a loss.
Yeah, yeah. So let me look that up.
But we'll
So I
know.
don't.
So this particular game, we should know a few minutes at least before the game. We have to know just because of of all the players are sitting up at the stage and doing all that shit.
Yeah,
So
I think this will probably be played in person as well because I know that they played the finals in
so
person.
you're saying it could be Root as well? Yeah. See, it's really hard to tell. He played all the most recent matches until the most recent match. Then Leo came. Was Leo gone because of coronavirus maybe or something?
I'm not sure.
He was gone from the
I'm not
20.
sure.
He came back and played good. It's not like Sandbox was playing well. If they could have won that fucking game against Damwon Gaming, I remember that game now. That's the game where I woke up and I was in second place on my way to first and needed Sandbox just to finish it out, and I would have fucking been all alone by
Oh yeah, I
myself.
remember
No
that now
one.
too.
It was a 2 game slate, and I woke up and saw the starters, and so I got their 80 carry for 1.6% ownership. That's the benefit of waking up. It sucks, but that's if you want an edge, that's the way to do it. The
Yeah.
three,
So
the other game we won't know, most likely. We just won't
yeah,
know. So you're
if I go to the beginning of the year, this is in like the Kespa Cup. This is like their off-season tournament in January. In that, the first game of that, it was Summit, On Fleek, Fate, Leo, and Gorilla. So going into that, I guess they were kind of thinking of playing both, and they went back and forth in the beginning of the year, and then in the first round, the first games that they played in this split for LCK, the starting roster was Summit, On Fleek, Dove, Leo, and Gorilla. So then it was Leo for 1, 2 matches, and then he got subbed out.
yeah, it's just hard to tell. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of sub like Sandbox of like the team. So of the favorites, they're my least favorite, even though Griffin has the tougher matchup because I
Well,
just don't know who's gonna play for them.
yeah. If I was going just based purely off of like best player in the match kind of thinking,
Mm-hmm.
I would have to assume that the best player in the game is going to be Summit, but it's going to be more difficult for him to carry from the top lane
Right.
unless this guy Rich just sucks. So I don't think that's the case either because I did see he played a couple of carry champions and in games that they won. Um, and then in terms of Beyond versus On Fleek, I think that On Fleek is definitely the better jungler if he does end up starting tonight. So it's kind of similar to what we saw with JDG versus FPX. If you can get your jungler ahead in the matchup, you have a chance to win
Yeah.
every game. So I think that I do prefer Sandbox just partially because I don't know a ton about team dynamics other than like recognizing a couple of names. So it's going to come down to I think the most important player for Sandbox is Summit, and the most important player for Dynamics is their AD carry because it looks like their team is set up to have him carry. So I don't know who's better, Leo or Fize or Route, but I guess that's really what it's going to come down to. I could also see Sandbox trying to out macro Dynamics because they have Gorilla, so they obviously have a very good shot caller on their team. And that's always a good way for teams, the better team, to kind of ensure that they can win is by
Yeah.
making it pretty ugly. So even if we get Sandbox or Dynamics winning this, I think that the other matchup is going to be more explosive because of the players involved,
Yeah.
specifically the junglers.
Yeah. I will say Sandbox. How many teams were in that Korean league this
10.
year? 10. They gave up the most fantasy points to opposing 80 carries
Really?
in DraftKings
Oh,
scoring.
that's because they had I think they had a few games. I think it was Sandbox against APK.
And the most to supports as well. 80 the bot lane they gave up the most points to,
I
basically.
think I think a decent amount of that is because of like a couple of extreme performances and because of how many games they lost.
Yeah. But
So
they still would be at and because of how many games they lost, of course.
because
So that's
because
true.
those statistics I don't think are adjusted for wins and losses. Like
Right.
if we're just doing it based off of match history, then yeah, the team that loses.
So
the most,
my point is if you're going to play the underdog, because you're just going to try to play all the sides. I think
yeah,
you can justify playing the underdog here. It's not like Sandbox or World Beaters. You can
yeah,
justify playing the favorite. So if you're playing both sides, if you're playing the dynamic side, focusing on the bot lane, which of course you can afford to do, there's upside to doing
yeah.
that. Is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
so I would say that's just good fundamentals.
Right.
Like
Exactly. But it's important to explain because trust me that
sure, I
that's
think you're right. I think we should say that because
yeah.
when I guess I just kind of take it for granted because I'm so used to it. I've been doing it for like years, you know. So
Right.
it's like when you have a slate where you think where you're projecting an underdog to win, the most likely combination of players is going to be the mid or the 80 carry from the underdog
Right.
with the rest of the favorite. So yeah, it's that is correct. And what I was saying about APK versus Sandbox is I'm pretty sure that they had like a series where they had 2 or 3 games that were over 20 kills each, and in LCK that's pretty abnormal.
Right.
So I think that's partially why it was so out of whack.
Right.
Even when you take their losses and their like huge
Sure.
losses into consideration.
Sure. And then on the Sandbox side, again, I would just you have to check the starters because I do think you can make a case for each carry, each mid laner both played as well.
There's something to be said for the continuity of having the same roster all the time. Like I've mentioned before, I think that having substitutes is ridiculous and stupid.
Yeah.
Especially when you have somebody like Summit.
Right.
You should really be trying to figure out the best ways to make that work in the top lane.
Right. Now, is there a reason why a guy who's listed as a top, like if he went and played the 80 carry, would he just be like, oh my God, I have no idea what I'm doing. It's so much different. Like, does it matter at all?
That's just a champion pool thing. And it depends on the player. So somebody like, the Shy from Invictus Gaming, I think if he wanted to, he could probably make it work because he does play some of the champions that are played in the bot role. Like he plays Lucian, he plays Vayne, and stuff like that. And a lot of these players, when they're playing the ranked ladder environment, the solo queue environment, where it's like pick up basketball, basically, they do have to play more than one role, just because sometimes the matchmaking system will make them play something else. So it really comes down to like where are the most opportunities for professional players, and in the top lane, you have a lot of players who aren't willing to play that like type of champion. So when they're in solo queue, they're not trying to be a tank because it's more difficult to carry as a tank.
Gotcha.
So you get a lot of these carry players that have high upside, but it's fundamentally different from the other lanes. I do think it's a huge oversight by the professional league community to not have more flexibility between the roles, because if I told you like a lockdown defender in basketball, like if I told you I have a guy who's
Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, like Kawhi. So if you're going up against the Golden State Warriors, conventional wisdom would say, okay, Kawhi Leonard, you're a small forward. Go cover the small forward. Just go do that.
Sure.
That's easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the more intelligent thing to do would be to determine who is the best player on the other team for us to lock down. So if we think that Steph Curry has the biggest differential between like his offense and our normal point guard's defense, then we should switch that up because we're taking more away from the enemy team. In League of Legends, I think
saw that in the Michael Jordan documentary. Did you watch it, episode 4?
I did not.
4 last night. Oh, wait, when the Bulls won their first championship, they switched Scottie Pippen after they lost game 1. I remember being 10 years old and watching this game on my little black and white television. Jesus Christ, I'm old, but I loved the Lakers and I loved Michael Jordan. It was a gut-wrenching episode for me at 9 years old, but that was the big adjustment. Even though Michael was a terrific defender and defensive player of the year candidate back then, Scottie Pippen matched up so much better with Magic and was also a fierce defender. They put Pippen on Magic game 2, won the next 4 games. The rest is history.
Cool.
So, anyways,
yeah. So before I get back onto the point, I am slightly younger than you, but
yes,
I have memories of like those like small box televisions, like when I used to stay at my grandparents' house, and I remember watching the Yankees beat the Mariners in the playoffs when the Mariners had like 120 something wins that year. So I have those TV memories as well.
Yeah.
like the little knob TVs. Fucking
Yep.
weird.
Yeah, the knob. So you put it on a channel, and then you had the 31 clicks here, the UHF, VHF TVs. There's a lot of things you had to do with. That was a lot
Yeah.
of my childhood. It was fucking with those TVs.
Yeah, that was wild. So basically,
sure.
what I was going to say about professional League of Legends is I think it's a huge missed opportunity. You should really try to have top laners and mid laners that can play both of those roles because it would be easy to exploit different champion matchups. So like
Sure.
if you had some overlap between champion pools, you'd have a better chance of blind picking. And like let's say one of them is better at playing like Ornn, and Ornn is left open first pick for some reason, and you know that you're like let's just say for example, if it was team dynamics, if I said okay, well Rich is a better Ornn player than Kuzan, so Rich, you're gonna play Ornn, and you might play him top lane, but you might also just go mid lane this game, and that would be a much better way to approach the game instead of having two players learn the same champion and play it at like varying degrees of goodness. So
Sure.
and like the other thing is maybe some of the people don't really remember from the North American split, but a player like Huni is an extremely aggressive laner. So you do have aggressive players and passive players. Huni should always be the person getting the best matchup possible. So you like his other solo laner is Froggen. So Froggen's a passive player. Huni's an aggressive player. Why would you always have your top lane be your aggressive spot on the map? Like why wouldn't you try to move him around, get him into good matchups, and then let him carry the game? Like they had huge problems this year. I think partially because they're not willing to make like the right decision. It's just it's pretty annoying. You watch stuff like that. Like it just seems so obvious.
Gotcha.
But that's basically it.
Gotcha. Game 2. Griffin and Seriobal, Team SRB. SRB was the number 1 team from the relegation bracket. They actually beat Dynamics twice, the other team in this slate that we haven't heard of. Basically what I could say about this, I'm pretty sure we have the starters for SRB. They do have some bench players listed, but when you go through the game logs, every game they played, including the important games, it was Tal at the top, or Thal at the top.
It's tall.
Tall, okay. Tall at the top. Cacao. Cacao.
You do it for everyone.
I wrote it backwards. Cacao at the jungle. Dang Chung at the mid. Dan Chung. AD carry Sang Yoon, who they seem to play through. Just had huge numbers in every game, and they had a very good year. They were 24-11, something like that. Nova at the support, and that's that. So that's who I think is going to start. And Griffin is a lot easier to predict as well than Sandbox is, I believe.
Yeah. So it's funny. It's funny with SRB. So if I told you like there was a player in the NBA who joined the league when he was 18 and is the kind of player where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe he's that young. Like he's been around forever. How is he still 25? You know? So what if I told you that somebody on SRB at one point in his career was considered one of the best junglers in the world, was one of the highest paid players in the world, and was like easily the most popular player in the world, just from being cool perspective. Like this guy is so cool. And he's only 24. Cacao is only 24 years old. He started playing League professionally when he was 16, and the guy is just so cool. He wears like these weird glasses that have like leopard print and stuff. Like he just doesn't give a shit about anything. He plays like he has an amazing champion pool. He plays all the interesting picks. Like he used to be an extremely good Nidalee player, and I don't know because I haven't been able to watch him recently because like he just wasn't in the professional league that I pay any attention to. So like I know that he has the ability to carry all of these games in any matchup. He's played at the highest levels, and it's a very interesting spot because I think that
Tarzan's very good as well, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that like if DraftKings had players who just paid attention to League of Legends, like actual League of Legends, and they were playing DFS, they would know about Cacao, And I think Cacao would be like the kind of play where everybody just eventually goes onto that side because they kind of want Cacao to win and they kind of like Cacao. But because most of the players playing DraftKings for League of Legends are newer and don't really know much about the League of Legends history, Cacao might actually be a sneaky play. So there might actually be an edge on playing SRB because people who know about Cacao will understand that, especially in this meta, it's very important for you to be able to carry through the jungle. And just looking at the champion picks that they've had recently, they've played a decent amount of Galio mid as well. So they're playing the kinds of champions that I like to see. So if you're playing Galio, if you're playing Pantheon, then that means you're really looking to get a lot of pressure on side waves. They also play Rise and stuff like that. So it does seem like a good fit in terms of the meta. And they also play Ashe support, which is really weird. I've never seen that.
So
I haven't seen it recently.
That was all great information, but I think I speak for everyone when I say now we know the measure of being cool is wearing leopard print sunglasses. If
You have to
wear
look
that,
up.
Mike
have to
will
look
think
that
you're
up.
cool. And so I'm gonna get some. I'm gonna next time.
I gotta find this.
I'm
I
gonna
gotta
find some
this.
leopard print sunglasses, and next time we do a show, I'm gonna be sure to have them on. Hopefully, I can see everything that's happening, and I'll be. Is that what I need to do to be cool to the young generation of America? Is wear leopard print glasses? I've been
Yes.
searching for that. I have been searching.
But really, I mean, if you type this,
I get it.
if you look up like Cacao, like if you typed in like Cacao popular or something like that, there would have to be articles about how he's like the most
Most
popular League of Legends player and shit like that. Because the guy was so cool,
Gotcha.
just so cool.
Gotcha. He's Justin Bieber.
He's like Peanut. He's like Peanut.
So Cacao is Justin Bieber. He was cool as a kid, and now maybe
And
not as cool.
surprisingly young. I mean, how old is Justin Bieber?
Probably the same age. I have no idea. Would have
Exactly.
no clue.
So
Honestly.
if you
I did
watch,
see a picture of Brooks Koepka today on ESPN.com, and he had a mustache. And Brooks Koepka looks like Justin Bieber just like started drinking way too much and got a little bit heavier. That's what Brooks. Look it up on
I can
ESPN.com.
kinda see that.
I swear to God, if he's grown a mustache, look at it. It looks like a little bit older and fatter Justin Bieber.
And
That's
also,
what
extremely talented, very
and also
rich,
better,
and jacked out of his
really
mind.
good at golf. Yeah, I mean, so let's go to the top
wait.
lane. Let's
Just before we move on, just to make a comparison to somebody that people are probably more familiar with, I think Cacao is just Peanut. Cacao is the original Peanut. So when Cacao left for China,
title of your sex tape. Okay, go ahead.
when Cacao left for China, to get paid the big bucks, Peanut kind of swooped in, not at the exact same time, but Peanut came in and he became like that cool jungler that everybody really liked and like paid attention to and had a great personality and stuff like that.
Gotcha. So if we break it down lane by lane, at the top, Griffin does play both Untara and Sword. So it's
Well, they've played all three of these guys, yeah.
it's very difficult. For me, because the slate locks. I guess Untara has been the more recent guy, and Griffin did win like 3 of their last 4 games, and 2 of those wins were with Untara at the top for whatever.
Yeah,
that's worth.
they brought in him at the end because he's more of like a consistent player. Like he's not as volatile.
Right. So if I had to pick one who I think it will be, I think it's him. But I'm staying the fuck away from that. Unless I'm in 150 lineups and you want to take, I'm not playing the top laner for Griffin no matter what. Doesn't matter how. It doesn't matter if they're picked to be if I have them as my 4-3, I still won't have their top. If I have them as my 3-4, I still won't have their top. I'll figure it out a different way. That's for me, that's how I'm going to handle that.
Yeah, I think you probably want to do that.
And I like the top on the other side. Tal is a better player, right? No? Maybe?
Well, so let me just confirm what I remember about this guy.
He's 5'3", 117 pounds. He
No.
does not wear leopard sunglasses. He wears more of a what do you want to call this? A pink
Not glasses.
a pink domino print.
He wears more of
don't
a he wears more of a doesn't wear glasses type of glasses.
Okay, so he sees well. Does not need the glasses.
Yeah. So Okay, I do remember this guy. So this guy actually came to the United States at one point to try to play in the NALCS in 2016, but that didn't last very long. It says 7 days, so I don't know what happened with that. I think like there was a visa issue or something. So then he played in Europe for a little bit. He played for SKT, but he didn't really play for SKT. He was just kind of on the team. So I don't think that he's significantly better than Untara, specifically because Untara is more of like the boring veteran that's been around for a long time. I'm pretty sure this guy played. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of somebody completely different. Yeah, I don't think Tal's better than UCal at all.
Oh, okay, good. He's not better.
Wait, UCal. I looked up the wrong guy. I looked up the wrong guy. I clicked on UCal instead of Untara.
I wish I had the loser game show soundboard thing up. I could have played that. Okay.
Let's see. Untara. Okay. This is gonna make more sense. Okay, Untara was on SKT. Did he even play for SKT? I feel like this guy just goes around not playing for teams.
Untara's on Griffin. We've already established way too unpredictable. So play at your own risk.
Well, I don't think I remember him from when he was on CJ Entis. And he was pretty good on CJ Entis, but he went to SKT. I don't even know if he really played that much. I feel like he was just a backup.
And what about Tal? Is Tal good?
Tal, I don't know anything about the guy. Yeah. I know that he was really hyped when he was younger. Like he was a very good solo queue player.
Here's the thing: I like him more than Untara because I know that Tal's going to play. Tal is going to be the starter. He's played every game, their whole run. Took him. Helped part of their number one seed. He's going to play. There's just no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
So they haven't played the other guy at all. They haven't played Lapis at all. So Tal's going to play. I like him more, basically.
So one of the good things that I see from his match history is that he is getting carry champions to play.
Right, and he has high kill totals as well, and assists.
Yeah, Camille, Callista, Silas, Camille, Aatrox, Silas, Aatrox. Like I don't like all of those picks in like a team environment, but it just shows that their team is willing to let him play carry champions. Yeah. So it means they think that he's very good.
Yeah, like for me, SRB is my favorite underdog on the slate. So I'm probably going to go heavier on SRB than most people are, even though I do like Viper and some players for Griffin.
Yeah, I think it does make sense. So basically, the way that the tournament works, I looked it up earlier and I forgot to mention it.
Yeah,
it's a double elimination tournament. So both of these teams are going to play. The winners move on to like the winners bracket. Losers go to losers bracket.
Sure, perfect. So we get a few more of these. We're gonna really be able to. I'm gonna actually wake up. So I'm gonna spend my Monday night. I'm gonna wake up at 12:30 and watch these fucking 5-game marathons. I'm gonna watch them all. God. I'm gonna watch them.
Is it 5 games? Are you sure they're 5 games?
It's best of 5. I'm pretty sure it's best of 5. And it was best of 5 to get into this as well. Like the last game between Dynamics and I believe it was Spear Gaming. If that's right.
Not sure.
Was best of 5 as well. These are best of 5s, I think.
Because the way that they have it set up on.
Yeah. Look that up. I'm just gonna, and then we're gonna close this out because we're freaking 40 minutes in. So 80 carry Viper's gonna play for Griffin. Sang Yoon is going to play for. Both teams like to play through their 80 carry, right?
Yeah.
Right. They both do. If you're picking Griffin to win, you need Viper in your lineup. If you're picking SRB, it's an SRB lineup. You need Sang-yoon. And trying to get him into your captain, I think, is totally viable. If not, both teams have good junglers that you can pivot to save salary if you need, for whatever reason, need to.
Yeah. So just to go through it really fast, I think that Tarzan versus Kakao is super interesting. It's probably 50-50.
Yeah.
UCal against Dan Chung, I think UCal's better. Viper versus Sang-yoon, maybe it is even, but Viper is a good player. Viper is a very good player.
The Sang-yoon guy, I'm telling you, go through his game logs. You're like, damn, this guy's just lighting it up down there. He's in the minors hitting like 411. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly, but that's what I would say. So when you have somebody like Viper, who last year he was one of the better 80 carries in the league, and his team was actually performing well until they had like a huge controversy surrounding their team, which kind of dismantled everything. Like he is the kind of player where a spot like this allows people to remember how good he is, I think. So I could see him just shitting all over SRB.
I like that emotional. And they
I'm
have
also
one three.
afraid to kick out.
So I will say this about Griffin, even though SRB seems like the underdog with the most upside, like of the two favorites, you most likely, even though there's no betting lines, the two favorites in terms of DraftKings scoring, Griffin has won 3 of their last 4 matches. They're playing much better than Sandbox Gaming has been playing.
Sure.
So
Okay. So for the double elimination, it says qualifying round losers bracket match is best of 5. All other matches are best of 3. So the qualifying, quote unquote qualifying, is
the last game, Dynamics and Spear
like,
Gaming.
so both of these are going to be best of 3. Then when the 2 losers
Oh.
play, that's going to be best of 5.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I like that. They're giving them an extra. That's going to be weird. I wonder if DraftKings is going to realize that and not have them. If they put it on a slate, that's a big advantage.
At least that's what I think it means, because it's like
We'll just worry about that later.
I have pretty good reading comprehension, but we'll have to verify that after this one's done. But today should be both best of 3s.
Both best of 3s. And then the supports.
There's no difference.
It's going to be Nova, just for in terms of who's played all the games. Nova over Harp for SRB. Griffin, probably Irove. I don't even think Wadid played.
Yeah, so Wadid was he played in Europe for a little while, and then he went back to Korea like as a caster, so he was casting a little bit, and then he just got picked up by Griffin recently. So I mean, it'd be pretty wild if they actually played Wadid.
Yeah, and like I said, they've won 3 of their last 4 games.
Yeah, so I mean, I hope he
much better. So
that would throw a huge wrench in the plans for Griffin.
So unfortunately for me, like the favorite with the most upside and the underdog with the most upside are playing each other. That's where I'm at in this.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's really where I'm at.
On a 2-game slate, you just get a bunch of different combinations. Like if you're playing a lot of lineups, you're going to try to get exposure to everything.
Like for me, I'm going to have more SRB probably than Dynamics and probably more Griffin than Sandbox, and I'm going to try to build my lineup that even though they're in the same game, it's going to be tough to do, but that's kind of what I'm going to do.
So what's your prediction, SB versus DYN? Who wins and who's the highest scoring player in the match?
In the Sandbox DYN, I would say again, we don't know who's going to play in the bot lane, but I think I'm going to take
the team quarterback.
Yeah, team court. No, I'll take. You know what? I'll take the underdog in this. The more I'm looking at it, I'm gonna take FaZe, the AD carry for Dynamics. I'm gonna switch. I'm liking Dynamics the more and more I look at it. Sandbox sucks. Sandbox fucking sucks. I like FaZe.
I'm gonna go Sandbox Gaming, and I think whichever AD carry starts is going to be the highest scoring player from the match, and then for the best top laner on this slate, if Sandbox wins, it'll be Summit. Summit will outscore the other one.
Gotcha.
I think Summit, this is his time to remind everybody how good he is.
Okay.
And then Griffin versus SRB. This is the kind of match where I don't really care who wins, but I would want to watch it because I think Tarzan versus Cacao is going to be very cool to watch. So, and then Viper is always fun to watch. So I like that matchup.
Yeah. I like Viper Sangyun. Like Sandbox, like we talked about, does give up a lot of fantasy points. You talked about the wins and losses, and so it doesn't 100% tell the upside for the other team.
Yeah.
But I really I'm telling you, when you go through and look at Sangyun's game logs, I think Viper Sangyun, that's going to be pretty cool. The winner, it's going to be one of the AD carries from this game, and they're the cheaper.
Sure.
That was tough for me. I like them both. I'm gonna have a combination of Sandbox Griffin, Sandbox SRB. Then I'm gonna have a combination of Griffin Dynamics, Griffin Sandbox. Then I'm gonna have a combination of. I'm gonna cover all my bases tonight for me for tournaments. That's what I'm gonna do.
So the last thing that I'll say is that I'm looking at the pick bans for the past matches that they've had for SRB. And they've left open a Felios a decent amount and given it to the other team. And I think that's a huge mistake. And that is a potential problem. So if Viper gets Aphelios 1 or 2 games, then I think it significantly changes who
Boom.
wins the series.
Boom. Yeah, Viper for me probably has the most upside of any player on the slate, in my opinion.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Okay. All right, that's everything. Again, like, comment, subscribe. We've only managed to talk about 2 games for 45 minutes, but I think it's pretty thorough when there's not a lot of information out there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that.
Yeah, and we had to go over some stuff that we don't normally have to go over too. So,
Exactly. And, I felt like drinking and rambling. I mean,
and
that's
like
what
types
we're,
of glasses. So
yeah, that's what we're going to do. And yeah, tiger stripe glasses and,
yeah, just try to remember what
fucking
kind of glasses your
walking on
grandmother
a
wore.
golf course and all sorts of
Yeah.
shit. We covered a lot of topics. Hit the like button. Appreciate that. Subscribe to both of our channels. Check out the video description with all the links to everything. 2 more days for the giveaway. We need to beat Joey. We need to double our output, basically. We need like 10 more comments and like 250 or 300 more views, or I'm just not going to do the giveaway. And I'll be disappointed. And I think we can do
300
that.
more views. We're that far off. Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised by that, to be honest. But I mean, shit happens. Anyways, love you guys. We'll see you for EU Masters tomorrow. We're gonna have an EU Masters video probably tomorrow later in the afternoon once the lines come out, because it's not till Wednesday. That's that. Bye, folks.